and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on Millions.co. Here is my media feed, and here is my profile so that you know that it is me. So now we are at the end of week 14. We had a lot of stuff happen in week 14, a lot of playoff implications, a lot of teams that are fluctuating up and down, a lot of teams that started off hot but have now gone cold over the past couple of weeks. And now we get to the very first game of the week 14 slate, and that was the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. When it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, like I always say, I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, but there are some problems that are lingering and that are cause for concern. The defense not being able to get off the field on third down, on the money down, when you need to get off the field, that is going to be a problem. They need to fix it very quickly in order to make it to the playoffs. They do. They need to fix it very quickly because if they don't, they are going to be watching the playoffs from home. But let me get to the statistics. You had Dak Prescott 31 of 47, 376 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. Jared Goff 25 of 34, 309 yards, one touchdown, and zero interceptions. The rushing attack for the Cowboys was 91 yards. Detroit Lions, they cracked over 109 yards. And then you have the receiving for both the Lions and the Cowboys. It did pretty good. Here is the team statistics for this game. Third down efficiency for the Lions, they were 3 of 8, which is bad. Third down efficiency for the Cowboys, 6 of 15, which is bad as well. Fourth down efficiency, 2 of 2 on fourth down for the Cowboys, and the Lions didn't even attempt a third down. So now we look at the current playoff picture. Can someone put the playoff picture up for me? Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Here is the current playoff picture. If the playoffs were to start today, these are the teams that would make it to the playoffs. Now we get to the point where, and I'm going to get into what happened last night with the Eagles and the Chargers, but now we get to the point where the Cowboys offense didn't have any problems, didn't have any concerns coming into the season with the Cowboys offense. Cowboys defense, let's say over the past month or so, they have improved, but not to the level that a championship contender needs to be at. So, Cowboys, they are not that far away when it comes to defense, offense. Offense of the Cowboys, it is going to be there. But as far as the defense for the Cowboys, they may only need just maybe 2 or 3 stops a game as far as the defense. Only 2 or 3 stops, and the Cowboys may win that way in the playoffs. But that's here nor there. A lot has to go on for them to make the playoffs, and a lot is remain to be seen. So, congratulations to the Lions. They are number 8 right now in the playoffs. So if the playoffs start today, the Lions wouldn't make it. And as far as the Cowboys, they are number 10, but with the Eagles losing last night, that helps out the Cowboys a little bit. So that's all I have to say for the first game of week 14, the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. The next game I'm going to cover, which was really a blowout, and I'm not going to go into a deep analyzation of this. It was the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have had a tough season all season long, and it's been a long season, and fans, after every game, they are talking about firing Raheem Morris. Only thing I can ask is, if the Falcons fire Raheem Morris, who are they going to hire? Because Before you fire somebody, you already have in mind who you are going to hire. So with the Falcons, another lost season, and I think the Falcons they gonna be the same way next year. Cause ain't nothing's gonna come good. I believe it's a two-team race in the NFC South right now between the Buccaneers and the Panthers. And I would have not said that at the start of the season. I would have not. Now with the Seahawks right now are at the number fifth spot in the NFC. So if the playoffs start today, they would be facing the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers they won over the Seahawks earlier on in the season. So now we get to a point where we see where it seems like all of these playoff scenarios they are starting to fall in place. They are starting to fall in place, and they are also starting to they are also the teams that are on the outside looking in. Like I can say these, well, I'm just gonna say these three teams right here for the AFC: the Colts, Ravens, Chiefs, the Lions, Panthers, and Cowboys. Those are the three teams. And one thing I can say is, even though I don't see the Dolphins making the playoffs, I see a lot of playoff scenario charts. They have the Dolphins up there, but let's be realistic. The Dolphins don't have no chance to make the playoffs. So when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks, they are a guaranteed spot in the playoffs. Only thing the Seahawks have to do is basically win out, and they may improve their playoff seeding. But like I said, when it gets to the playoffs, you cannot hold on to anything. You can't even hold on to your playoff seed because it doesn't matter. It does not matter. You had Sam Darnold, 20 of 30, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kirk Cousins, 15 of 30, 162 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And the Falcons, they have a revolving door through Michael Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins. But now Kirk Cousins, he has a $200 million, he signed a $200 million contract when he first came to the Atlanta Falcons. Now you see where the Falcons, they have no choice but to pay him that money. And if Michael Penix Jr. is not playing well, they have to go back to Kirk Cousins. But like I said, the Falcons haven't been the same since that playoff run in 2016. Well, excuse me. Yeah, that playoff run in 2016. That's one thing that we can all go back on. They have not been the same since 2016. They haven't. So that's all I have to say for the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. The next game I am going to cover is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. This game was a critical game for playoff positioning for both teams. You had the Bengals 4-8. They had an outside chance at making the playoffs. You had the Buffalo Bills, who are currently the sixth spot in the playoffs right now. And you have the Cincinnati Bengals, who are down here. They have a 1% chance at making the playoffs. If I'm the Bengals, I don't bring Joe Burrow back. I don't. Because your season is definitely over. But guess what? The Bengals season was already over before Joe Burrow came back. Because Joe Burrow got injured the second week of the season. And ever since then, the Bengals, they've been trying to keep themselves afloat. Now, Joe Burrow, he was 25 of 36, 284 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Josh Allen, 22 of 28, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Cincinnati, rushing attack, 62 yards. Buffalo's rushing attack 183. Now Buffalo, they are gonna make it to the playoffs no matter what. If, and I do mean if, the playoffs start today, the Buffalo Bills would be headed to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Now, that game, that would be a great playoff game for both teams because in the past, the Jaguars, they've beaten the Bills in the playoffs. They have. So that would be a good potential playoff matchup. And I'm pretty sure that would bring ratings because you had the Buffalo Bills, you have Josh Allen, and then you have this first year coaching staff with the Jaguars who are just trying to get their feet wet. But I believe that the Jaguars are on their way to the playoffs. No matter, and they have a very high percentage, 97% of making the playoffs, and they also have a 64% chance at winning the division. No matter how good the Texans are looking right now, the Jaguars are the odds-on favorite to win the AFC South. So now we get back to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, they have a game that is coming up versus the New England Patriots this coming week that has the potential. Whoever wins that game obviously is going to win the AFC East. Now, as of right now, the Patriots, they are the number 2 seed, the number 2 seed in the AFC at 11-2. Bills are 9-4. If the Bills win this game, they are 10-4, and the Patriots are 11-3, and the Bills, they have 3 more games that they can win out, and the Patriots, they will have to win out and hope that the Buffalo Bills lose out. But if the Patriots and the Bills win out after they play each other, the Patriots still get the tiebreaker because the Patriots won versus the Bills early in the season, and the opponents that the Bills have played they've also lost against, but the Patriots have won. So that's how those tiebreakers work. So now we get to a point where the Bengals, you can kiss this season goodbye, Bengals, because you've lost too many games, and to start off the season, you lost too many games. So the Bengals are out of it. The Bills, they control their own destiny. They have a chance at making the playoffs. And that's all I have to say for the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. The next game I want to cover is the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns. Now, Shedeur Sanders, he won. He won and the Browns lost. Shedeur, he made it official that he is the QB number 1 for the Browns. Shedeur Sanders, 23 of 42, 364 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception. Now, I just want somebody, now I know that everybody is puzzled by that last play. Everybody is. Why? And I do mean why. Like I've been saying, I've been hearing over the last 36 hours from all sports media pundits that Kevin Stefanski has got to go. Now, I've been saying that for ever since, even before the season started. I will believe it when I see it. Now, I do believe that as far as if you want Shedeur to develop, have the maximum potential of his development, You need to get rid of Kevin Stefanski if you are the Cleveland Browns, because to go for a 2-point conversion when you are down by an even score, you're down by 14 points. If you don't go for two, I was saying that this game was going to go into overtime. But everybody was saying, I'm like, dog, they went for a 2-point conversion earlier on in the game. If you would have just kicked the field goal, like I've been saying last week, because well before they went for the 2-point conversion late in the game, they could have kicked the field goal in the second quarter. And if they would have made that field goal in the second quarter, they obviously win the game. But it seems like Kevin Stefanski, it seems like he isn't thinking that far ahead in the game. And see, the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Browns organization is forcing Kevin Stefanski's hand. Now, here's something else I want to tell y'all. Kevin Stefanski and Dylan Gabriel have the same representative. Had the same representative as far as agent that represents both of them. Do y'all think that's a coincidence? Do y'all think it's a coincidence that the Browns are pushing Dylan Gabriel so hard? I'm telling y'all, when I already knew this. I was just basically waiting for the perfect time to say it, but all throughout the season, it has been the representative of Dylan Gabriel and Kevin Stefanski, which is the same person, that is trying to keep Dylan Gabriel on the field. Now, Dylan Gabriel, he's had this agent ever since he entered college football. So his agent, he knows his capabilities and his deficiencies. But like I've been saying, Shedeur Sanders does not have an agent, America. Shedeur does not have an agent. So he is not represented by anybody. So now the Browns, they kicking their own self in the ass now. And reporters have asked Kevin Stefanski if he would have started Shedeur Sanders. Well, it was this one reporter asked Kevin Stefanski if he started Shedeur Sanders earlier, would the Browns be in the run for the playoffs? Yes. Yes, they would have been. If the Browns would have started Shedeur after week 3, right now, the Browns would be in first place of the AFC North. And that is not an exaggeration or an understatement. It's not. Because Shedeur Sanders, he's shown everybody, and I do mean he's shown everybody, that he is able to maximize his potential and learn a whole playbook and throw the ball for 40 to 45 or 50 times, however many times you need him to throw it. He is willing to do that. Now, one thing that I can say is that we all know that this is not a coincidence, because I said at the end of the season that he was going to finish out the season. Now, everybody look at this. The Browns' remaining schedule. Now, their remaining schedule is difficult. Now, I'm wondering, is this there's something going on behind the scenes, because nobody, and I do mean nobody, I said coming into the season, the Browns wasn't going to give Gabriel this kind of schedule. You see this, you see the Bears, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Bengals to finish out the season. Now, I know Shedeur, he is saying that he likes this challenge. He does. And I could see, even though I can't see the Browns winning either of the 4 games, I can see Shedeur Sanders putting up the kind of numbers that he put up versus the Titans. I can. So now, we get back to the quarterback conversation. You have Deshaun Watson. He is starting to work his way back. So for 2026, what do the Browns do? Do the Browns let Deshaun Watson start the entirety of 2026 and you keep Shedeur Sanders as your backup? Or do you trade Deshaun Watson? Let Deshaun Watson go to another team. You put Shedeur Sanders as your number one. Possibly bring Dylan Gabriel back for number two. And then you have one of these NFL journeyman quarterbacks be your third option. Now, one thing I can say is I believe it is going to be tough to bring back Dylan Gabriel, but if Kevin Stefanski has any, and I do mean any, say so, he is going to bring Dylan Gabriel back because they have the same agent. They have the same agent, and whatever that agent says for both of his clients, it is going to stick. It is. So this has nothing to do with, well, yes, it does. The agent representing both Stefanski and Gabriel, it has something to do with the playing time of Dylan Gabriel and going into next season. But if you are a Shedeur Sanders fan, this is what I predicted at the start of the season. Now, Cleveland, they would be a fool to trade Shedeur. They would be, because you trade Shedeur, you giving up the potential of having a cornerstone franchise player in Shedeur Sanders, and you also giving up that prime equity clause when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I know a lot of y'all don't remember what I said about the prime equity clause, but the prime equity clause is that Shedeur Sanders, he gets 65% of the Browns' revenue when they advertise his name on anything. Not to mention that Shedeur Sanders, he has made over $20 million. Well, excuse me. That was just at the start of the season. Now Shedeur has made over $200 million just by jersey sales alone, and he gets a profit from that. So Shedeur, he's making more money off the field than on the field, and that is what you want. That is what you want as far as an NFL player, because, like I said, you go out there and obviously you have an injury that sets you back, but Shedeur, he played his cards right, and he gonna finish out the season with the Browns. Now, I don't want to hear no type of hypotheticals when it comes to the Browns not bringing back Shedeur. I don't want to hear that, because we still got 4 more games to think about, and then we have the entire offseason to think about. So, obviously, the Browns coaching staff, Kevin Stefanski in particular, he knows that he made a mistake. And like I said, we all know that he made a mistake. But I'm not calling for anybody's job, but Kevin Stefanski, he is on the chopping block. I put him on the chopping block at the start of the season. So now, the next game I am going to cover is the Vikings, and I'm gonna just take 5 seconds with the Vikings. Vikings blew out the Commanders. The Commanders, Jaden Daniels. Hold on. Jaden Daniels is injured for the rest of the season. I don't know why the Commanders brought him back, But the Vikings, they did what they were supposed to do. They are out of the playoff picture no matter what. So the next game I'm going to cover, which was another blowout. I'm not going to take too much time on the Dolphins and Jets. Dolphins did what they were supposed to do. They are 6-7. And there are three teams who are 6-7, like the mean, 6-7. Now we get to a point where the Dolphins are they a playoff team? No. But this is great because Mike McDaniel, he's kept his job for another year. I believe that the general manager for the Dolphins will be fired on the day after the season ends for the Dolphins. And I believe that they are going to bring in a new general manager. And after next season, whether the Dolphins win or lose, Mike McDaniel will be fired. That is what I'm hearing. That is all speculation right now. But I would not be surprised if that comes to fruition when we get to the end of next year. The next game I'm going to cover, New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers, 7-6. They started off 5-1, and ever since then they have been 2-5 in the last 7 games. The Buccaneers are also at the 4th spot in the NFC playoff picture right now. Do I think that the Bucs can lose the 4th spot in the playoffs? Also, another team in that division is 7-6. The Panthers. Now, I said the Panthers were a dark horse team to make the playoffs this season. I said that. And now we are at the point, we are in early December. And the Panthers have a fighting chance at making the playoffs. Who would have thought of that at the start of the season? I can tell y'all, me. I was the only one that put chips on the Panthers to at least be in the playoff conversation. And that's happening. Like I said, my credibility is getting better and better every 24/7. I got a shirt in here that says winning 24/7. I'm going to show it to y'all a little bit later on, possibly at the end of this year. At the end of this year, I'm going to show it. But as of right now, credibility with Keytime Sports and Key City Sports is the highest that it has ever been. And it's only rising. It is only rising. So now, getting back to the Panthers and Buccaneers. Panthers and Buccaneers, they play twice in the last 3 weeks down the stretch. So whoever wins those games, whether it's the Panthers or the Buccaneers, will win the NFC East no matter what. The Saints, hey, your season ended weeks ago. Just get ready for next year. Go back to the drawing board and get ready for next year. The next game I am going to cover is the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars are in first place in the AFC South. Trevor Lawrence, I can't say that he's the interception throwing machine because he didn't throw any interceptions. This is the third consecutive game that he hasn't thrown an interception, and he is looking great out there on the field. He was 17 of 30 in this game, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But the Jacksonville's defense, they came to play versus the Colts. Now the Colts, it has been 10 years since the Colts have won in Jacksonville. I don't know what it is, but if the Colts make the playoffs and they have to come back to Jacksonville and face the Jaguars, you can already say that the Jaguars are the betting favorite to win that game. You can already say that. And when we look at the statistics, third down efficiency for the Colts, 6 of 11. Third down efficiency for the Jaguars, 7 of 15. Fourth down, 0 of 1 for the Colts, 1 of 2 for the Jaguars. Now, I can say this. When it comes to Trevor Lawrence, he's starting to progress in the right way. He is not regressing. You have Liam Cohen, who is not just confident, but enthusiastic in Trevor Lawrence. Now, dare I say that Trevor Lawrence is playing up to his contract? I'm not going to say that just yet. We need to see a deep playoff run when it comes to the Jaguars, because 3 years ago, I'm going to tell y'all something. 3 years ago, Jaguars were in this same position. Not even that, but 2 years ago, the Jaguars were in the same position. Had a chance at getting home field advantage, and what happened down the stretch? They ended up losing games versus bad teams. They lost a game versus a top-notch team, and they did not make the playoffs. But let me tell y'all something. The Jaguars, they are on a little bit of a winning streak now. I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to tell y'all something. The Jaguars, this is the Jaguars' longest winning streak in 3 years. 4 consecutive games, and this was back 3 years ago when they won out and won all 7 games to make it to the playoffs. Can they win against the Jets up in the Mile High City Club, which is Denver, Colorado? Can they win in Indianapolis, where they have had trouble winning in Indianapolis? Can they win versus the Tennessee Titans back home in Jacksonville to finish out the season? The only tough game that I see in the Final Four is Denver. And we all know that Denver is trying to become the top team in the AFC so they can have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And another thing about Denver, I'm going to tell y'all something. Every time that the Denver Broncos, every time the Super Bowl has been in Santa Clara, the past 4 times, the Denver Broncos have made it to the Super Bowl. All 4 times. They've won twice and lost twice. Now, I don't know what the football gods are doing right now, but do the Denver Broncos make it to the Super Bowl? Because I don't know what it is about California and the Broncos, but it's always California, Denver Broncos, they always make it to the Super Bowl. Now, credit, California is just 2 hours, on the map, California is 2.5 hours away from Denver, Colorado. Now, Denver, they would have a easy commute to Santa Clara. They would. But back to the Jaguars. Jaguars are the 3rd seed right now. They've won 4 straight games. Everybody in Jacksonville is on their high horse. I heard somebody just a few days ago saying that the Jaguars were going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, whoa. I said, whoa. I'm like, me and my colleagues, we are saying that when it comes to the Jaguars, even though that they have to take, I'm just saying, they have to take one step at a time, because you cannot win 4 straight games and then have a massive letdown like you've had in the past, because all the Jaguar fans, they gonna put all of their Jaguar apparel back in their hamper, back in their closet, and don't pull it out until the draft. That's what it's going to be. So the last 4 weeks have been great for the Jaguars. Can the Jaguars finish the season strong? Yes, I do believe so. I do believe the Jaguars can finish strong. They can finish out the season 3-1 if, and I do mean if, they win in Denver. Then all of a sudden the Jaguars have shook up the rankings for home field advantage, and they have also shook up the rankings when it comes to as far as playoff seeding concerned. Because Jaguars, if the Jaguars win out and the Patriots lose one game, the Broncos lose one game, the Jaguars will be the top team in the AFC. I'm going to say that again. If the Broncos lose one game and the Patriots lose one more game and the Jaguars finish out the regular season on an 8-game winning streak, I know that's crazy to hear. But the Jaguars have already won the last 4. They got the final 4 coming up. And if they win all 4 of those games, the Jaguars will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs and a chance to go to Santa Clara. A chance to go to the Super Bowl for the first time in their history. But it remains to be seen because there is a lot, and I do mean a lot of movement that can happen with the playoffs right now and with these seeds. So that's all I have to say for the Colts and the Jaguars. The next game I am going to cover is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, let me tell y'all something. I could say over the past few days, I was hearing, the Steelers, they may fire Mike Tomlin. Come on now. Y'all have been saying that ever since. Y'all been saying that for the last 3 years. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Since I've started my show, I have heard that so much, I'm starting to get tired of it. Do y'all know who y'all talking about when y'all talk about Mike Tomlin? Mikey T, as I like to call him. Mike Tomlin, he is going to have his team in the playoffs no matter what. Now we just have to get to the point where, and I do mean where, if the Steelers make it to the playoffs, I'm going to tell y'all something. If the Steelers make it to the playoffs right now, who would they be facing? They would be facing the Chargers. Now, let me tell y'all something. The Chargers going into Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, I don't see the Chargers winning that playoff game in Pittsburgh. So, if everything holds its weight and everything falls into place, the Steelers are going to be favorites versus the Chargers in that playoff game because they will have home field advantage for that playoff game. So y'all need to stop talking about, we don't know whether Mike Tomlin gonna stay and maybe Mike Tomlin needs to be fired and all this other stuff. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. And the Steelers are projected to, I'm going to give y'all the remaining part of the Steelers schedule. Because y'all keep on, y'all talking about the Mike Tomlin. I'm going to say this. Every time that I hear Mike Tomlin has a possibility of getting fired, it's called Mike Tomlin slander. It is. It's called Mike Tomlin slander. Now, let me tell y'all. They have the Miami Dolphins next. They are at Detroit. Good luck with Detroit. They are at Cleveland. They possibly could win at Cleveland. And then they have the Baltimore Ravens in Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh. How many wins do the Steelers finish with? Now, at the start of the season, I had the Steelers winning 9 games. And I could see them finishing out the season with 9 wins and making it to the playoffs. I do. So one thing about the Steelers, they are going they are going to be okay. As far as the Ravens, their season is on the line. One thing I can say is the Ravens, they cannot lose another game this season. If they expect to make the playoffs, they cannot lose another game. And they need the Steelers to lose versus the teams that I just showed you, either Detroit or Baltimore. That's who the Ravens need to lose. That's who the Ravens need the Pittsburgh Steelers to lose to, either Detroit or at the last game of the season when the Ravens play the Steelers. So, all in all, this was a very entertaining game when it comes to the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers, he had a vintage moment in this game. He was 23 of 34, 284 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And it seems like the Ravens, ever since the opening night of the season, the Ravens, they haven't been the same. Because, I mean, rushing defense is bad. The pass defense is bad. And as far as their offensive line has allowed the third most sacks in the NFL. I don't know what to say about the Ravens, but you can't have any more slip-ups. You can't. And for the next game I am going to cover is the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. I was about to say Los Angeles Raiders. Excuse me, everybody. The Raiders were in Los Angeles back in the 1980s. I'm sorry. That's vintage history right there. But the Las Vegas Raiders have been bad all season. The Broncos have won 10 straight games. And I'm going to tell y'all something. The authenticity of this winning streak is starting to come in question. It's starting to come in question because Bengals, bad team. Philadelphia, I'm going to get to Philadelphia a little bit later on. New York, both New York teams are bad teams. Then you have the Cowboys, who at the time had a bad defense. You had Houston at the time, which was a bad team. Then the Las Vegas Raiders. You won that by 3 points, 10-7. Kansas City, who is also a not looking great. I'm just going to say that, not looking great. You had the win versus Washington, and you had the win Sunday versus the Las Vegas Raiders. So, you have Green Bay coming up this week. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars. You have the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas Day. Now, Broncos, it's been a while since the Broncos won in Kansas City. And then you finish out the season with the Chargers. That's the remaining Broncos schedule. So the Broncos, they are going to make it to the playoffs no matter what. And let me tell y'all something. Even though the Broncos have experience in the playoffs, with Sean Payton as the head coach, he gives them more experience. Sean Payton gives the Broncos a leg up when it comes to situational football in the playoffs. Because I can tell y'all, when Sean Payton was the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, he used to have great playing capability, play call abilities when it comes to situational football in the playoffs with the Saints. And I believe if the Broncos have home field advantage, the Sean Payton will have a great situational football system in play when it comes to certain play calls. The next game I am going to cover, and we are in the final stretch of week 14, the Bears and Packers. I said the Bears was going to win. I said the Packers was going to win this game. And as of right now, we can see where the Packers, they are the number 2. They are at the second spot in the NFC. And the Bears have dropped all the way down to the number 7 spot. Now, that is amazing how so much can happen. And I do mean so much can happen in the matter of just a week. When it comes to the Bears are a young up-and-coming team with a first-year coaching staff. Caleb Williams, 19 of 35, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jordan Love, 17 of 25, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Green Bay Packers rushing attack, 117 yards. Bears rushing attack, 137 yards. The Packers and the Bears are going to play again, not this coming week, but the following week. And this one will be in cold weather Chicago. I mean, it's so cold and it's gonna get so cold in Chicago that your bones gonna be shivering. I'm just saying that y'all know how it is in Chicago this time of year, where you had that bone chilling cold and that wind. You had them fierce winds in Chicago. That's why they call it the Windy City, because in the wintertime it gets so breezy and windy. So now, all in all, this was a very, very entertaining game. It's a 2-team race in the NFC South. Excuse me, not NFC South. Well, excuse me, yes, the NFC South is a 2-team race. The NFC North, it is I want to say a 2-team or 3-team race, because the Bears, Packers, and the Lions all have chances to make the playoffs. The next game I'm going to cover, I'm only going to spend 15 seconds on this game. Rams dominate the Cardinals. The Cardinals are one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Rams are still the best team in the NFC at 10-3. The next game I'm going to cover is Sunday Night Football. The Texans versus the Chiefs. America, I just want to say one thing about the Chiefs. If the Chiefs win out, they are going to need the following teams to lose at least one game. So the Chiefs win out. They need the Texans to lose at least one game. They need the Colts to lose. They need the Ravens to lose at least 2 games. They need the Colts. The Chiefs, I didn't say this earlier, a few seconds ago. The Colts, they need the Colts to lose 2 games. Now, the Colts, I believe the Colts, their season is pretty much done. So the Colts, they are going to lose. The Texans, with the Texans defense, and you have the offense that doesn't have to do much. The Texans are one of those teams that I believe that can pretty much knock off one of these top teams in the AFC, whether it's the Broncos or the Patriots. Dare I say it, if the Texans play the Jaguars in the playoffs, I'm going to tell y'all something. That is going to be a good game. You have 2 top 10 defenses, and you have two good quarterbacks. Now, as far as the Chiefs, they have a lot of work to do in a small period of time. The Chiefs, when it comes to their offense looked very bad. And the game was so bad that Chiefs fans were leaving before the game was over. Late in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs fans, they were leaving. Have the Chiefs really lost their fastball? And I'm hearing this foolishness over the past 24 hours. I'm hearing this foolishness that the Chiefs, they might change, they might do some changes in the coaching staff. Does that mean Andy Reid is getting fired? No. The Chiefs, they are not going to fire Andy Reid. So whoever said that out there, you don't know what you're talking about. But as far as an offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, he might have to go, and defensive coordinator, he might have to go. But as far as firing Andy Reid, I just don't see it. The Chiefs are not going to fire Andy Reid. Andy Reid, he'll resign as being a head coach for the Chiefs first before he gets fired. So congratulations to the Texans. The Texans, they have an outside chance at making the playoffs. The last game of the week happened last night. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Chargers. What can I say about the Philadelphia Eagles last night? I predicted the Chargers were going to win this game no matter what, and I said it was going to happen. But I did not expect the Eagles to turn the ball over 5 times. Now, three of those turnovers happened on one play. 3. Because Jalen Hurts threw an interception. The defense picked it off. The defense fumbled. Jalen Hurts picks the ball up, okay, and then he fumbles, and the defense recovers it again. Those are 3 turnovers in one play, America. We never seen that before. I can say in all my years of playing football back in middle school and covering football like I've been doing the last 3 years almost, I've never seen that happen. Never seen that. But when we get to what Jalen Hurts has done, 21 of 40, 240 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. You had Justin Herbert on a bad hand, 12 of 26, 139 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The rushing game for the Chargers, 169. To the Philadelphia Eagles rushing attack, 134 yards. The Eagles, and I do mean the Eagles, I'm going to say this, the Eagles, third down efficiency, they were 4 of 13. The Chargers were 7 of 19. Now the Eagles, they have lost 3 consecutive games. And the Cowboys' last 3 games, they've won 2 of their last 3. Now, the Eagles, they have the Raiders next. Then they have 2 games versus the Washington Commanders. And they have the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Now, down the stretch. Now, one thing I can say, I'm going to show y'all the Eagles schedule. Well, I'm already showing y'all the Eagles schedule. So, here is, I'm going to show y'all the Cowboys schedule. Cowboys remaining schedule, once I can get it up, is... Okay, the Cowboys remaining schedule, and this will be this will be my final take when it comes to Monday Night Football. The Cowboys' remaining schedule is the Minnesota Vikings, Los Angeles Chargers, the Washington Commanders on Christmas Day on Netflix, and the New York Giants. Now, I believe that the Cowboys, they can win out. And the reason why I say that, if the Cowboys win out and the Eagles, they lose one game, that's going to be it. But I'm going to tell y'all something. Now, because the reason why I say that is going to be it for the Eagles, because the Eagles, at the end of the season, they will be 10-7. That's if they win 2 of their remaining 4 games. The Eagles will be 10-7, and the Cowboys will be 10-6-1, and the Cowboys will make it to the playoffs. So I know the temperature in Philadelphia is way colder than what the meteorologist is saying right now for the Eagles. Because you got Eagles fans throwing eggs at Kevin Patullo's house. You got A.J. Brown, who is questioning the offense. You got allegedly the whole offense complaining about what is going on with Jalen Hurts. And you got a front office that doesn't know what they are doing in Philadelphia. So one thing I can say is I like this. I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts. Hey, Eagles, I like to see Jalen Hurts be successful, but I believe that the Eagles, I believe they are starting to unravel. Now, if they lose, and I do mean this, if they lose versus the Raiders, somebody is going to get fired within the next 24 hours after the Raiders game. That's if they lose. America, are we witnessing a deterioration of the Eagles? And are we witnessing where in a year, I'm going to just say this, in a year where the Dallas Cowboys started off the season bad, trading Micah, the defense for about, I would say 5-6 weeks, was allowing 30 points a game. And you had a fan base. You even had one of the most diehard Cowboys fans in myself questioning how would this season end. And obviously now, if the Eagles lose versus the Raiders, the Cowboys have a chance at winning out for the rest of the season. And the Eagles possibly have a chance starting off the season great, starting off the season 8-2 after 10 games, having the number 1 seed and not making the playoffs. That is going to be downright disappointing if it falls into place that way. So that is my final take on Monday Night Football. We are at the end of Week 14 of the NFL season. Here is the current playoff picture for all NFL teams in the AFC and in the NFC. And I want everybody to please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on Millions.co. We also have merchandise on Millions.co America. We also have merchandise. Let me give y'all a little glimpse of what merchandise we have. We have shirts, we have hoodies, we have sweaters, we have jackets, all on millions.co, and you can see all of the prices when it comes to the hoodies, shirts, caps, and sweaters when it comes to the apparel for what we are advertising here. So go and get you a hoodie, t-shirt, sweater, because I know up north everybody needs a coat up north. Everybody. And also possibly down here, even though we are in a warmer climate, we are going to have some cold days in the coming day. We are going to have some cold weather days in the coming days and weeks. So go and get your sweater and a jacket from Keytime Sports on millions.co. The key on millions.co. You will be glad that you did. And remember, everybody, one last thing: the key is always on time.